Hi everyone, can you hear me? Welcome to this community stream. As always, I'm first checking with you guys in the stream if you can hear me well, if everything is working fine. So yeah, just waiting for any one of you to confirm that everything is going okay, that you can hear me, that you can see the screen, that you can see everyone. Should be able to see the screen because I can see the screen on the live stream itself. Seems like everything is working fine. So yeah, welcome everyone. Hola mis amigos. Ohayo gozaimasu. Bonjour à tous. Ciao a tutti. Willkommen meine Freunden. And that's pretty much all the languages I can cover, I guess. Yeah, maybe one day I will know how to greet you in a few more languages, but for now, that's pretty much the best I could do. So yeah, welcome everyone to this community stream. Today is gonna be a bit special because we're testing out a brand new fight night system. But before that, where is the Polish greeting? I actually learned how to greet in Polish, but that was so many years ago. If I was trying now, I would probably butcher your entire language. So I won't even try out. But yeah, I wanted to say first and foremost that I'm very sorry about last week's cancellation or rather postponing of the community stream. I would like to re-explain to everyone the reason why we postponed the last community stream is simply because there was this spinning freeze issue where the game would potentially freeze if your opponent had some specific assets in their army, and obviously if we ran the community stream, that would have meant every couple of fights we would have had to relaunch the game, but also we would have had to basically rework every time the list of players. So yeah, that would have been quite problematic. Oh, I see that someone is asking why this army seems so easy. That's pretty much because that's an easy army. That's what we will be starting with today. It's the easy mode, and that's why we want to go this way. I would also like say, yeah, I see that some people are mentioning the white chat. I'm actually checking at the moment what is causing this because the window that I'm streaming for this chat is actually black. So there shouldn't be any reasons for it to not be in the dark mode. Yeah, I will be... One thing I can try is to potentially... Yeah, no, even when I try to update it, I don't know why it's not popping as an actual dark mode. So yeah, I will probably find the reason for that. I might only be able to do that outside of the stream, sadly, but that's definitely something I'm taking into consideration. Just know that you can also definitely pop out the chat and watch it directly from YouTube separately and have it run if it's really too difficult for you to read. Yeah, if you cannot find your name in the list of players, it's probably because you didn't register for the simple, for the easy mode, but rather for the regular or the hardcore mode. And to answer the question, yes, we'll go first. We will go first with this easy, then the regular, and then the hardcore one. We will probably change that around from week to week. And I would also like to add that, again, these streamings are based on your feedback and the data we can collect. So we'll see if we need to make further adjustments. We will definitely do that. We don't have any problems rethinking how we're doing it. For the easy mode, we don't have that many people that registered. I'm just going to be waiting probably 1 or 2 minutes before we start. We have 15 players in the easy mode. I see that some people are asking what is the level of those dragons. That's the one bit that is worrying me a little. Those dragons are level 80, which is quite strong already for really beginners. But at the same time, you only have those 4 units on the field. And also, the thing is, with the beginner army, it's really something that will get better as we go, because one of the problems I had when trying to think how we could run this is that we cannot make it to be something you would beat from rank 1 to 8, I would say, because pretty much every new player is able to move out of rank 1 to 7 or pretty much in just a few days. So we needed something that is a bit higher than that, but obviously not something that goes to the hardcore players. Again, if we see that this one is a bit too easy, we might go for something a bit stronger next time, or the other way around. We'll see how we go with that. Yeah, it's quite of a tanky army. To be honest, for this one, it's not one that came from players directly. It's just someone that suggested at one point, oh, what about putting all the dragons in your army? And I felt like, hey, you know what, that would actually look quite ridiculous, but that can be a funny concept. So I toyed around with it a little and felt like I could have my Mighty Morphin Power Rangers of Battle Legion dragons pretty much by running this. Or the Super Sentai for those that want to be more traditional with the naming of such programs. If you're like me and you grew up in a world where Super Sentai were pretty much the coolest thing in the world, which was a long time ago. So yeah, without further ado, we will basically be starting with this fight night. Again, we start with the easy mode. And for those that might be wondering as well why we are not starting with the game news, etc. The main reason is because right now there's not necessarily a lot that we can bring up for this week, but also because most of the stuffs we wanted to announce have been released in the last few days. So that will come. Where is the Holy Dragon? I couldn't put all the dragons in the easy version, to be honest, so I went just for that, but we'll see. You know, we can expand on that, probably. And yeah, Greenfoot, I'm looking at your comments there. We'll see how it will work out for the players there. Again, if we see that today's army is a bit too strong, we'll definitely adapt that going forward. And yeah, enough talking from my end. Let's just spin and hopefully everything will be working just fine. Okay, we actually end on the good players. That's already a good thing. And see, I was right to say that it's not too bad. Actually, I'm a bit surprised by a player with artifacts level 5 wanting to fight in the easy mode, but you know, I'm gonna just, you know, assume you were too worried about what would the other armies looking like, but really with such an army you don't have to worry too much. Yeah, low risk, low reward. I get it. As I said, ultimately it's your choice where you want to go. Hey Muchacho 420. Yeah, I mean, it might be that you, I mean, I don't know if you didn't get to make it to the list because it took you, like basically when you tried to register it was already closed, or if it's because you didn't see your name in the list. But there will be a stream next week, and as I already mentioned, we will do our best so that you guys get what you get the priority when you were not in the part of the last one. Okay, I see that to start with we have the stream not showing anymore already. It's because it seems to be happening when we have the free wagons. So I'm just checking that right now. Yeah, I'm gonna be starting this, and hopefully everything should be working. Come on. Yes, we are back. Okay. Okay, we're back. Quiz question. So, not quite yet. I will return back to the quiz system. The thing is, I'm still trying to figure out how to make sure everything is running smoothly during the stream. I'm not yet too good at the full multitasking thing, so we'll get into this. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of people just picked the beginner mode for now, with way stronger army. Guys, you could have really get a lot more gems already at the second level with those armies. Yeah, I mean, we keep going with the 5 artifacts army. Look at those poor dragons, you know, they don't even stand a chance. They're getting slammed. But at least I got the confirmation that it is an easy army. Hey, DOZKAN, yeah, I saw you on the list. I think you're in 13th spot. So yeah, we'll see what you can do. And I'm sure you will be able to beat this team. And at least I know from your Discord conversation that you are not yet someone with with level 5 artifacts. So yeah. Yeah, Greenfoot, I fully agree that for brand new players it would probably be a bit too hard. But that's why I need to coming in there, because I need to see how things will go once we have really new players coming in for this section. Okay, this is already slightly better looking, but not for my dragons though. Is a nerf coming for the wormhole? It depends what we call a nerf. If what you mean is, are we going to find a way to rework its attributes? Yes. We are not going to necessarily nerf it drastically or anything like this, but we're looking at a few options. What I can tell you is that there's one option we cannot go for already, and it's the one which some players brought up, which is this idea that we could just basically change the rarity of the unit, and so that it would consume more army points to make it less of a unit that everyone will use, right? We could have done that, but we won't be able to, for a very basic reason that I didn't think of right away, and it's that if we were to do this, we would have a problem, because if we were to do this, people that already collected shards for those for this unit would end up with way too many shards, because with the rarity level increase, you're reducing how many you need to move from one level to the other. And that would potentially mean some players would get an insane advantage. Okay, I'm seeing a freeze on your screen, so I will just pause and see what's going on there. Sorry about that. Come on. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So, battle news on stream. Yes, there will still be battle news on stream, but it depends on when we actually have some interesting stuff to bring up. For this stream today, I did not yet have the last details of potential balancing change that would be coming. We already released today a new army pack, so that's something I initially planned to potentially announce if we were not able to release it in time, but since we were able to release it in time, wouldn't really make sense to present it once it's already there. And since we released the 4th Power Stone slot just less than a week ago, we don't necessarily have as much to share today. That's why it's not there. We're also thinking about maybe doing what some players asked us to do, which is have separate videos for the battle news. That might be something we'll do as well, so that we can keep as many players as possible to contribute to the actual community stream. Okay. So the name of the outcome mod, it's the same account. I'm basically taking advantage of the 3 slots of armies to be able to prepare that. So I'm not sure you will be able to know what's the exact battle news there. Oh, Toboggan, that's an actual new player. And yeah, it's a bit hard, as I can see, it's a bit tough for newer player. Not new player, but newer player. Okay, so good to know, good learning there that potentially we can slightly alter it as well. And actually, Toboggan was our last player in this round, so we will be able to move to the next list. So that will be actually the normal mode, where we have a lot more players. In the normal mode, that's the category we have the most player in, with 98 accounts. There were also some players, a lot of you guys, that were worried that there would not be enough spots available and that you would not be able to join the fight night, etc. And I would like to say you shouldn't be worrying too much about this, because ultimately you will have the possibility to join. As I was saying, we are guaranteeing a certain number of spots, but I always make sure, that we have more slots available. So ultimately today we should have about 190 players overall participating. And yeah, we should be slowly fine-tuning it. Again, we are not limiting the number of accounts to piss off anyone, right? So the more players we can get into it, the more the better, and we will definitely help for that. But at the same time, we also need to make sure we don't run streams that run for 3 hours or anything like this, because ultimately it's a bit tough on everyone. So for those that are wondering why I'm looking the other direction right now, I'm just setting up the list for the second part. I will just shuffle the participants once or twice at least, so that we can get things going. I need to set the proper rewards, because rewards are now a bit different from one difficulty level to the other, obviously. But this one is actually already set up properly, if I see that correctly. Yes, we are already set up properly. Perfect. And now basically the only thing will be to make sure we set things up. So what I'm gonna do now is just make sure we move to the good army, because obviously we are moving to a different army for the regular mod. Come on, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. So what I did for the regular army is pretty much same type of layout, but with some small additions. They're a bit hidden in there, but you can see what is happening there. With, of course, stronger artifacts, which we had no artifacts in the previous round. This one, I'm fairly sure, will be rather easy for the regular players, but yeah, we'll see what you guys are able to do there. And yeah, let's go live. Right after we start, I will be able to post the player list in the YouTube description as always, but I can tell you we're going to be starting with Moo, Kingo, and Zhutky, so that you actually know what's going to be the first names while we are running things. So everything should be ready to go now. Let's just roll. Yes, we're working the way it's intended, and now I can do the slightly more boring task of copy pasting the player names with a bit of Google Sheet magic. I'm not the best at this kind of things, but you know, we have to do it. So let's do this. Okay. Okay, we actually have 97 players in the regular mode. Okay, so I'm almost back with you guys, just saving so that you can just update your screen and you will be able to see the new listing. Wait, why? Sometimes there are words like this on which I won't be able to move on, and I don't know why, but that's okay. Yeah. So Greenfoot, back to the discussion that you were that we were having earlier with the wormhole. Yes, we could have divided the amount of shards the players have, but it's a bit tricky because there are many cases as well in which the number would have to be rounded up or down, and it might be a bit unfair to those that would come afterwards. But also the offers that you get for a regular unit are different than for a common unit are different than for other levels of rarity. So that's something we have to factor in. What we might be doing instead is look at the area of action of the wormhole. We will also potentially look at how fast or how often it gets triggered. So there are a few elements we can look into to make it slightly less OP. Oh, my poor unit. Look at that. Chased by 250 people. That's unfair. You see, blocked in a corner. How can you do that, guys? That's so unfair. Look at this going from corner to corner. It really looks like an entire village chasing people in the Middle Ages. You know, it's super weird. Okay, for the skirmish matchmaking, will this ever get a rework? That's something that got brought to us already back in the Traplight days. There were already discussions about that. I'm not sure how easy it will be to rework the system, but we'll definitely try to work on that because indeed at the moment it's not the best working event. That's definitely something we look at, but we want to bring new events of this type, like smaller individual events in this section of the game before we rework the existing one. The main reason is that we might need to take the skirmish out for a few weeks to rework whatever needs to be done there, and we don't want to keep you guys with nothing in the meantime. Yeah, my dragons are getting wiped. That's okay, you know, that's how you get things better, you know, that's how you get better there by trying, so yeah. I'm very sorry that the screen froze right when it was your turn. As far as I could see, I think you won, but you should be already able to tell DOZKAN, because you should be able to see your rewards already in game, since they come out as soon as we close the fight night, and that was already done. Well, you know, in the old system, there were also some rather easy builds at times. Don't forget that Crucible and the people that were there before me were working on this game for years by the time they even started to do the community streams. So obviously their knowledge was far better than mine. But I will mostly add that for both of those levels, for the easy and medium levels, I'm always open for suggestions of armies. That's something I will repeat again, but every single one of you can share with me some concepts of armies, and if your army make it to the stream, you will actually get rewards. So yeah, just shoot at us, give us some ideas of what would be a good army that you want to see fight in there, and we'll make it work. Okay, so Seth the Conjurer, are you looking at any changes to counters? At the moment, I'm not necessarily aware of any elements who are working there. So, yeah. That's probably something we can look into. I would say, as you've already noticed in the past 2 weeks, we've started to release quite a few things between the 4th Power Stone slot, between the new army pack, and we have a lot of things coming in. So we know that there are things to work on. We just cannot work on every single thing at once. So we'll also try to put some priority, especially on the long-lasting bugs as well. Like especially, I could name a few that really needs us to work on. I know that the team wants to spend some time on tackling the red boss issue, where you basically get a crash if you are basically hitting a threshold of points. That's really something we need to look into, and yeah, we'll prioritize based on that. Tsar, sorry, you were asking the name of my army. There it's called Celador by Bizu and Co. Yeah, and oh, I see that it was written by Greenfoot below that, sorry. It's Celador with 2 Ds. Oh my. Yeah, actually that's a spelling mistake. That's a scam. That's not me. I need to correct that one. So yeah, Greenfoot, I know the targets are easy for the players in ranks, and it's complicated in leagues. As far as I understand the way the system works, the problem is that they look at a lower bracket. For the ranks, at least, they're looking at a lower bracket of the rank you're in. So as you progress through a rank, it gets a lot easier to go with. Because they basically take randomly 3 armies of random players and put them together. But if they take it from like the 10% of the bottom of your rank, of course, as you progress through the rank, it becomes super manageable. Once you reach to the league, the system is not exactly working in the same way as far as I understand. And that's potentially something we want to work on indeed. Oh, sorry, you were talking about the Fight Night. Yeah, obviously for the Fight Night, it's super easy for people with that are in the leagues and such. My aim was to make it a bit harder than it currently is, so definitely something I know for next time, and I will try something else. I feel like the easy one was doing its job as being easy. This one should have been more complicated to deal with. For sure, that's something I should have better prepared. For the artifacts, I will be honest with you, I'm super bad at picking artifacts as of now, but especially I picked artifacts for the hardcore mode, which we will see after, where they actually make sense. And for this one, I just really didn't know what to go with, so I just decided to go with the same which, as you can see, they were not really helping out. But that's where that came from. So there's a lot of work to do there. Again, if you guys feel like this is really too easy and making no sense, etc., I fully get it. Let me know what would make sense. What do you want to see as an army? Give us some suggestions. You can contact us on Discord, or even via Facebook, or whatever you want to use to contact us, via support even, and let us know. Let us know what you'd like to see as an army. If your army gets picked up, if you come up with a full model of an army, like Bizu today for the hardcore mod, you will get an actual set amount of, well, not a set amount of gem, a certain amount of gem. As a reminder, you get 100 gems for being selected, and then you get a percentage of gems based on the winning ratio during the fight night. So yeah, just so that you have an overall idea of what would be going on there. $5 billion gems for getting selected, right? No, not even. Just for suggesting your army, you should get that. Then you get additional 5 billions, obviously, once you get selected, as you can imagine. Oh, sorry, you were talking about gems. I thought you were talking about recognition gems. It's this currency where we just are thankful for you to help us out. My bad. So yeah, 5 billion gems would be a bit much. If I remember correctly, 5 billion gems would even be more than what we add to test accounts, just to be, on a safe spot and be in a situation where a test account never has to even think about adding more gems, because that gets tedious if you're testing stuff and you need to constantly add gems. So we give them like a ridiculous amount so that they never have to worry about this. And even for those accounts, the number is totally smaller than 5 billion. Fun fact, actually, you should know that in most games, there's a maximum amount of currency that you can get. And once you reach this amount, you can actually break the game. Not only the UI will look crooked, but you can break the game because pretty much developers need to change the formatting of that value to be going higher than that. And I've seen that happen in a few of the games that I've worked on over the years, where you would suddenly have a player telling us, hey, I'm sorry, but my game is completely broken, and we look into it, and it's because they have an absolutely insane amount of one resource or one currency or something like this. So yeah, there is a thing as too much gems for your own good. You want an overflow? Yeah. Integer overflow bug, yeah. That's pretty much, yeah, what we were mentioning from what I understand. But my technical knowledge would probably be at its max level there. So the question is my winning rate 6% because it cannot go any lower than that? Or did I actually win one of the fights without realizing it? Or are we not at 20 fights yet, which would justify why I'm still there? But I think we passed the 20th mark. Yeah, we have 22 fights already, so yeah. So, Germanistica, you signed up yesterday. Why are you not on the list? Probably because you picked the hardcore mod. That's what I would suggest. I would suppose, because if you registered while the form was still open, you are definitely on the list, since I literally included everyone that answered prior to the moment when the form was closed. So. It's kind of weird to me that Battle Legends choose their social media as Facebook. Something like Twitter makes more sense to me. So, few things with Twitter. Personally, when I cannot answer for why Traplight went with Facebook before that. The main reason I would say is because of user acquisition. So one thing to understand is that when you want to get new players to play your game, you will run campaigns on YouTube and on many other social media platforms, and those social media campaign will have a different costs and will run better if you already have a stronger presence on that platform. So that can be one of the elements why they initially went for that. As for us, the reason why we don't invest too much effort in Twitter is because, as you probably know, it kind of became a bit of a shit show in the past year, pretty much, of that platform. But also because our communication is not always fitted for Twitter. If we want to explain a feature, it will be a supermassive thread. The first liner will not be that interesting, etc. So there are a lot of elements where the Twitter format would not necessarily be the best for us. Facebook still has this advantage at this point that it's super easy to deal with and super easy to do pretty much anything you want, from video to image sharing to anything like that. We will be revamping the Instagram page a bit more in the coming weeks, but yeah, that's mostly the reason why we went for that. Ultimately, I would still say that the most important platform for us at this point is Discord, and I think it will be more and more and more the case. I'm not so sure if Twitter is more popular than ever, but yeah, it's really, really hated. There's a lot of pros and cons. I'm not going to be the one to judge the platform in itself, but I can say, at least on the company side, that for companies, the situation over the past year made it a bit less of a platform suitable for companies to use at the moment. So yeah, we'll see. Ultimately, we also have a Battle Legion handle if we want to use it on Twitter. At the moment, it just doesn't seem to be the place where we would have the bigger reach. But yeah, we can still look into that. Yeah, Greenfoot, you were talking about the classic year 2000 bug and the integer overflow. Yeah, I remember that. I was there. I mean, I was not old enough to be working all day long with computers, obviously, but I remember quite vividly the fear of the year 2000 bug and the fact that all the internal clocks would go down, which ended up being fixed just rather easily with just a few updates that happened way ahead of time, but people were still super worried. Yeah, RS64B, I fully agree. Discord is the best platform for games. To me, where Discord is super strong is that it combines the best of several worlds. It's both something that is reminiscent of the forums, because you have this kind of private server aspects. You can really display who you are. You get into specific sections to discuss with people, in opposition to social media where you are just one out of millions on a page. So that is super interesting for community building and community management, and just, yeah, meeting people and exchanging with people. The second aspect is that they still bring the chat aspect, which is better suited to nowadays fast pace of communication than the old forums were. And they even included forums now, so we are really having the best of the chat world, the best of social media, because they took a few things from social media, and the best of forums. And I still believe that Discord is the best of Discord is yet to come, because I know that they're working on a few things for games that would be very interesting. So yeah, as GSG considered a custom Discord bot with integration with the game. It depends what we want to do. We could work on bots. If you have some ideas of what you'd like to see, we can see what would work best. But what I can say is that Discord on their end is working on new solutions for companies like ours, and yeah, they will help us to potentially expand what you can do between Discord and the game. Yeah, I cannot say much yet because this is mostly something that Discord is pitching to companies at the moment. There's no real element, but yeah, it seems quite interesting, at least. A crazy idea is to send the game to Elon Musk. I wouldn't send him anything at this point. I'm not sure if you want your company to be associated with the guy right now. Right? You know, I'm not judging him. I don't know him. I have no say about what he's doing, and to me, he's a really splitting personality where he's done a lot of super awesome stuff and a lot of stuff that are super questionable. But his press image is really bad right now, so I'm not sure it would be the best move for us, especially because we would probably need to pay him a lot to be playing on the game and show us what he can do. But that would be a good concept, though. Yeah, you're telling us that the BL server is done right. That is true. I would say there are a few things we can still optimize. That's mostly to my taste, so I'm not going to be changing anything. As I always say, we're not going to be changing things for the sake of changing things. If we change things, it's because we have some rational reasons behind that. So I wouldn't be changing anything to that. But if we at one point get the opportunity, I would probably try to look at the number of sections we have and channels and see if it makes sense to regroup some of them or reorganize them, mostly because we have a fair amount of activity, but because it's so spread out through a lot of different channels, we end up having a bit less emulation between players than we would if we had a bit less. So it's always a bit of a fight there, because if you have less channels, you will have a lot more activity, but it's also a lot less organized and harder to follow, and I definitely don't want it to become a mess where you only have a few channels and everyone is spamming all the time. But yeah, maybe there are some sections or some channels where it might make sense to regroup them. At the moment, it's something I don't see any reasons to change it just for the sake of changing it, as I was saying. So we'll see if at one point we see that there's a reason for that. But indeed, I can see that a 6-hour slow mode for suggestion is a bit mean. And also, to me, from my experience, it's a bad concept, because something I spotted is that you have a lot of players that would usually come up with a few suggestions, and they prepared them for a while and they want to share them all at once because they're coming to the server at that point and they feel ready to share their suggestions. And if you give them a slow mode, yeah, you're basically killing their you would basically killing their will to share. So that would definitely not be the good way to go, at least from my perspective. You still see only 15 names, Mr. Undercover Anonymous. Let me check, but if you refresh your page for the stream, you should be able to see them, because they were properly added, yeah, like 15 minutes ago by now. So yeah, you should be able to see the 15 first names and then the 97 that are following this. Okay. Yes, indeed, you can still see Twitter if you don't have an account. It's just not necessarily the best experience to do that at this point, but yes, that's definitely this. Gridfoot, yeah, the downside to Discord is that you need an account to view anything. This is very true, and as I was saying, that's also one of the strengths of the platform. So there's pros and cons to both. On one side, what I can say from my perspective as a CM is that, oh, yeah, sorry, I thought we had a problem there, but no, that was just a draw. Finally, yes, the Dragons didn't win, but they didn't lose. Yes. Yeah, so I was gonna say, yeah, having to set up an account for Discord, it can be, of course, something that lowers the accessibility and the visibility of the platforms, that is for sure. But the benefit of that is that when you need to create an account, the likeliness of people actually interacting once they created an account is way, way, way higher. Because ultimately, what happens is that if you do this, you should be able to, if you go as far as creating an account, pretty much, you already set up your mind on the fact that you want to participate. So it's pretty much a platform that is really for the community that wants to be active. Now, that's why we still have Facebook and other platforms that are easier to get into because of this. But ultimately, the ideal world would be to have like a selection of public things you can show on Discord. That's what I would like to have. Like, you know, like just a Facebook, a Discord server profile page, if you will, that will show you what are the last discussions and stuff like this. That would work. I can say that there's not 38 people in the hardcore mode. Let me recheck, but the number should be way higher than that. For the hardcore mode, we actually have 68 players. That's because you're taking into account the 150 players as a limit, but it's not a limit. We always said that in the announcements. It's just the number of spots that we can guarantee. And then if things are going fast, like today, we can have more. And so we have 30 more here, a bit more maybe. I think the overall, the grand total is about 190 players. So that should be it. But we can go above the 150 limit. And we already did the last time we had the stream as well. So it's just what we secure to make sure that if the stream, for whatever reason, takes way longer, or we have a lot of draws and the battles are going forever, that there's no frustration if we say to players that we stop at 150. That's the idea. So yeah, no, there's more than 38 players in the hardcore mode, but it's not the one with the most participants. That being said. Okay, I'm at 10% winning rate. I feel good. I feel like we're finally getting somewhere. I mean, obviously it's bad, but that means I wasn't so off. You were hoping that Ilion would improve Twitter, but it somehow made it the site so much. I feel like, you know, it's the theory that everyone has, is that Elon Musk didn't like Twitter at all, and he was so pissed about it that he just bought it to make it so bad that it won't be a thing anymore. And technically, like, it's a funny story and a funny theory to think about, but technically, if you wanted to take down Twitter, what other way could you possibly do it than by buying it and making it so bad that no one wants to go on it anymore? So I'm not saying it's true. I'm not into conspiracy and anything like this. I'm just saying, yeah, you know, that would be a fun storytelling if we would ever find out that this was the case. Greenfoot, no, it depends. So it would not always be the last category that is cut off if it's too long. Most likely, what would happen is because, well, okay, let me rephrase. Yes, it will be the last category because we cannot cut off before most of the time. If we see within the first matches that there's a big problem, then yes, we can potentially readapt the 2 next categories, but most of the time we would not be able to do it. The other thing is that when we put the categories, we want to rotate it. So today we went easy, normal, hardcore. Next time we'll probably do the other way around, and then we'll have the normal one first, etc. We want to switch so that in case we ever need to cut things a little, it's not going to be the same category that would suffer from it every time. That being said, from what you can see right now, it doesn't seem like we will have to cut it out. What is most likely to happen almost every time is that we'll have about 200 players or something like this that would participate. The 150, I know that people got stuck on that, but it's just a number that I put to make sure that we would not set up a wrong set of expectation if something went wrong. We'll see as well how things go going forward. If we see that, you know, after a few streams everything is perfect with 200, then we might say, okay, the limit is 200, but we stick to 200 and we don't take anyone outside of the 200. And if then we see that the 200 is fine, we might be allowing a bit more. It depends a lot on how things go, but I would say it's always easier for me to be a bit more strict at the beginning and then make it better and better than to go the other way around. Like if I had to have 4 streams in a row that are 3.5 hours to figure out what would be the good number of streams of fights to have in the stream, we would be putting a lot more stress and lowering the value of the streams a lot more than doing it the other way around. So that's also why we went this way overall. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Rabble Supreme. So actually I saw that some of you guys were quite happy with the army pack release, and especially the skins, the portraits, etc. that were released. Some were not, or had a few concerns, obviously. As always, this is something that we're taking to the art team and we'll be discussing with them. I'm glad to see that overall we're starting to move in the good direction. And I wanted to bring up that topic because I will be trying to spot some of those portraits in the next streams, because especially the Ronin one looks very good to me. And I can actually give you a little teaser there that you should be able to get access to a video tomorrow. So not the small video that you've seen today that is just telling you, hey, here's what is inside the army pack, but an actual video that will show you how we made one of the portraits. So it will tell you pretty much, it will show you how we went from scratch, from the sketch to the final design. And I hope you will find this short video interesting, because yeah, I mean, personally that's the thing I always like to watch. Hopefully that's something you guys enjoy as well, but we'll see what are the reactions to it. Okay, so my dragons are back to 4%. Will that video be posted on the official channel? Yes, it will be posted on the official YouTube channel. It will also be shared on social media, and I will share it obviously on Discord as well. Yeah, I mean, we haven't done so many of those videos yet since we started to work on the game, so it's nice to have. It's the kind of things that personally I like to be able to share with you folks, but yeah. No, it's not. no, it's not a short. I mean, again, this is a format that has some appeal for some reasons, but in our case, it's not going. In this case, it's not really be fitting to that. It's definitely not a 30 seconds kind of thing. It's a bit longer than that. It's not a 20 minutes video either, because no one would be watching it, most likely. But it's not a short, for sure. Okay, guys, do you have any question? So not speed art, but more in depth. Well, from my perspective, I would say it's a bit of both. It is speed art because showing the full process would be many hours long, so that would not work for a YouTube video. But it's not a 10 seconds video where we show you, hey, this is what we started with, this is the final result. You will actually see how it is shaped and how it progresses through the phases until you have the final result. That being said, if you guys are interested, if you enjoy what you will see tomorrow, if you feel like, oh, this is the kind of content would be interesting to have, it would be quite interesting to know, because then we can definitely release more of those things. Do you think it's possible to draw with just a mouse and a mouse pad? Yeah, it's tricky because with just the mouse and the mouse pad, you don't have necessarily the sensibility or the precision that you would need to draw. I'm a terrible art person in general. I mean, okay, I can play music, but everything that is about graphical arts, I'm terrible at this. But I have a lot of people in my own family and friends that are drawing, and all of them would say, if you want to get started, the best is to even just get a tablet, but with a proper pen design for it. You have some free apps that will already allow you to do things that are quite interesting. You have pens, or well, electronical pens that are not so expensive nowadays. Even to start, you can find something rather cheap and make it work. That's usually a good way to get going. Greenfoot by Speed Art, you were referring to what Crucible showed before and after the stream. Yes, that's a bit like this indeed. This one goes a bit, I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly the one that Crucible was sharing. As far as I remember, it was spending a lot more time on the sketch and kind of skipping from phase to phase, kind of. So you'd have like one version, then another, then another. This one is more linear, like you really see all the stuff's happening, of course, in a time-lapsed version, but you really see everything that is done to go there. I might be wrong, maybe the one that Crucible had at the beginning and end of streams was actually more detailed than that. That's just the memory I have of it, and I didn't see it too many times, because usually by the time the stream is done, it's usually when I stop watching them, and before the stream would launch, usually I had to rush because I was doing something else and I had to rush to make sure I would be there in time, so I didn't see it in full that many times. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was going through all the phases, but that's the memory the memory I have. And yeah, there are a few very good ways to do art. And indeed, if you want to do something like pixel art, especially, yes, with your mouse and your mousepad, you can do this. Actually, pixel art might be one of the... It's both one of the trickiest, most complex, and also easiest type of drawings, depending on where you stand. Mostly because it requests you to understand exactly the coding system. Well, not coding as in programming, but the codes and rules, the rule sets, that's the word I was looking for, the rule set of pixel art. If you know the rule set of pixel art and how to reproduce a character in pixel art, reproduce a building in pixel art, it becomes super interesting, and the more you do it, the more it becomes very natural and fast, and indeed you can do that with a mouse and mousepad. Of course, if you want to do like more drawing style, then with the mousepad it's gonna be a bit trickier indeed. Yep, there we are, folks. We are back to an astonishing 0 win rate. Yeah, I'm not proud. I'm not proud. Anything to look at, to look forward regarding artifact balance. So artifact balance, there's not so much I can share right now because it's still in the work, but what I can say is that we are trying to get to a position where what we want to do with the artifacts is making it so that your progression through the artifact system is not letting that many players out as it currently is, that the highest level is not as overpowered as it potentially is right now, and also that we can have a system that scales a lot better, pretty much. When we then do this change, it will be more of a systematic change than an actual rebalancing, I would say. Now, so that's one part of the things, and that's something we work on, but that will take still quite some time. Then you have the rebalancing in itself. The rebalancing, what I've done is that we discussed with your sages to see what could be the good way to start, the good system there, and we listed obviously some of the main issues that you guys are encountering with the artifacts, and that's what we want to work on. So basically we're talking about the boots, we're talking about the spare, we're talking as well about the freezing mechanism. There's a few of those that are really clearly problematic, and those are what we're looking to potentially rebalance even before this system change that will come a bit later. So the rebalancing on that part might come earlier, and then the system evolution would come a bit later. It's sad that the best way to progress artifacts is just joining a clan. Yeah, I mean, what we want to do with the artifacts is that we want the progression, as I said, to scale a bit better than it currently does, but we're not going to be changing necessarily the way it works, because it is kind of interesting to get this loop in the game where you need to participate in the raids in order to get the artifacts that will get you stronger in the ranked, etc., etc. That's a loop that kind of makes sense, especially for the game in the state where the only real guild event is the red boss. The day we have other events for the guilds, that might be a bit different, but for now that's not really an option indeed. There was a suggestion made to just keep the main effect and get rid of the attunement. I mean, that's an option, but the thing is there, the problem there is that it would make the progression even tougher, because what would happen is that you're at level 4, nothing moves until suddenly you're at level 5, then everything is completely different, but you're stuck in there. There's no more difference between you and another player with the same level. So having these different layers of progression is fine. I would actually feel like the problem is that there's not enough scalability there, and that basically you wait a bit too long potentially, or rather than waiting too long, it's just that for moving your artifacts even from level 0 to 1 takes a lot of time, and it doesn't make you feel like you're progressing pretty much. How many journey levels are we looking to add? I can't say the exact number, but I would expect that it's going to be 2 full chapters, so that would be like 20 levels, if I remember correctly. From what I remember, that would be what we want to do, to add 20 or 30 of those with each release we would have of new levels, mostly. And yeah, talk to you later, Greenfoot. So what do we think about Clan Wars in theme of island games? I mean, I'm not sure what you mean with the island games there. If you mean the island games in terms of the visual schemes like assets, etc., that's something we could potentially be looking at. But to be honest, the point for Clan Wars at the moment for us is mostly what is going to be the mechanics behind it. That's the one bit we really want to get done correctly. Then the art assets, etc., and themes that we could have around it, it's obviously nice to have, but we can work with that in tons of different ways. And even if it's not a super crazy good looking design or assets set from the get-go, it's not good, and we would rather have something that looks excellent, but what will matter for us is the game mechanic behind it first. You really like your Clan Wars ID, but then again you're biased. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it works usually, right? So, Annie Viper, you can change artifact scaling to unit scaling, like units used to be 1 to 12, now it's 1 to 150. Okay, I mean, I will be honest with you, that's pretty much exactly what we're looking at for the new system in itself. It's not exactly in this extent, we're not going to multiply it by 10, but that's the kind of direction we're looking at, so that there's a progression that is better, but also that we decide what is never going to be achievable, pretty much, by putting a limit at one point that is just so high that we know it's unreachable, and it's just basically something where there's a progression that keeps people interested, keeps people motivated, but up to a point where, yeah, we know that this is pretty much the maximum you can get, and we don't go over, because there's a point anyway where it wouldn't make sense. Oh, I think the game has frozen for you guys, so just a second. Let me see. I don't really know why this is happening from time to time, because the iPad and everything is working just fine. So I don't know why it happens. It's not using so much CPU or anything like that right now, but yeah, I don't know. It's just the way it does. You hope that those extra levels are not just copy of old ones. No, as far as I'm aware, that's not the plan. It should be proper levels. I mean, obviously you will find some similar configurations here and there with higher level units because some of them just make sense. But it's not like we just copied an entire section and said, okay, and now we do the same with level 150 units. As far as I'm aware, at least that's not really the direction we wanted to go in anyway. Okay, let me check where we are at. Pablo Papitas. I'm checking where we are on the list because once we are done, I will need again to basically do the same as earlier, put the new list in, etc. We have already 73 players done, so we still have, yeah, a bit more than 20 players to go. I'm glad to see that I'm back in the 10%. We are back, baby. We might be able to keep it at two figures. Another victory. Look at my dragons go. 15%. 19%. We've never been that high. Oh, by the way, have you seen this? Yeah, I'm the kind of guy that sports a t-shirt of his own nickname. That's a bit lame. To be honest, it's a gift from a friend of mine. I would have never done. I would have never be creating a t-shirt with my own nickname on it, especially for a stream like this. But earlier today, when I saw that, I felt like, oh, that's gonna be fun to wear today. When I thought about the stream. Oh, Greenfoot, you also asked what the new zones are like. I'm not gonna be spoiling what they look like. That will be for you guys to find out once they're released. How many gems do we get for winning against the easy army? I can tell you that right now. I have the numbers here. For the easy mode, you were winning 200 gems for win. For the regular modes, it's 300 gems for win. And for the hardcore mode, it's 400 gems for win. This is also a number that might change going forward. Like if we see that we can increase it a bit, we might. But one thing I would be quite interested to know as well is if you guys would be interested in getting anything outside or rather on top of the gems. Like, is there anything that could make sense for you? I was thinking maybe, you know, power stones or something like this so that we tie the game, the fight night to the actual season that is ongoing. That's something that I would feel is quite interesting to be giving power stones. So depending on the power stone, we will need to adapt a bit the gems, not so sure. But yeah, doing something like this would be quite interesting. And so yeah, I was wondering if you guys would be interested in getting some power stones from there so that basically you really get rewarded for participating in the stream compared to someone that doesn't, because you get potentially a super strong power stone or something like this. But yeah, you let me know. Maybe my idea is bad. Oh, I don't know how you guys feel. I always feel bad when a unit ends up being alone like this and being chased by the entire rest of army. So, a skin token. So, a skin token could be a good idea. The problem is we don't have, as far as I'm aware, a proper skin token at the moment. So, an alternative would be indeed to give Eternite. The problem with Eternite, at least the way it currently works, is that there's a bit of frustration if, let's say, you receive 1,300 Eternite in a stream and you go in and you use them to open a wardrobe and you only get Eternite back. You will feel basically like this was worth nothing, right? So there's not this feeling of excitement if you open a wardrobe and you only have copies, which can happen. So that's something we want to also address. In general, that's something we'd like to be reworking. We would like for wardrobes, when you open them, to still give you something back when you have a duplicate, obviously, but maybe not just the current amount that it gives back in Eternite, but potentially give you something else as well, so that you have still an excitement of opening something, because it's a bit of a bad player experience when you want to spend a resource that you have and you get nothing but duplicates. So yeah. You feel like draws should give more rewards than win, Annie Viper. It's tricky because, I mean, on one side, we know that draws are a big problem in the game right now, and I kind of understand where you come from with this. The problem is, we also need to value winning. Like, if we are valuing draws against winning, what will happen is that everyone will send a build that is 100% designed for draw, and that will make super long and boring matches all the way. So that's why I wouldn't really go this road. Yeah, that, as I said, that would indeed make the streams way longer, and also potentially less exciting, because it's one thing when you have a draw because two armies are kind of perfectly matched or something like this, but it's different when you have someone that purposely wants a draw. That would be a bit different. Hey John, you are actually using more languages than I did when I said hi. That's good, that's good. Greenfoot, you would like to scrap wagons to have, or well, in this case, the wardrobes to get Eternites in exchange for skins. I mean, from the player's perspective, you're completely right. It just makes a lot more sense. But if we were to do that, you would get a lot less Eternite in the game. That's the deal, because the reality is that cosmetics are one of the things that are also bringing revenues to the game. And if you have a system where you use your Eternite, you get some duplicates, you might not have enough Eternite to open other wardrobes because you still want something out of whatever, you still end up potentially interested in buying some Eternites. Or if you don't buy Eternites, you will at least make sure to keep progressing in the season to get your Eternites from the rewards or all those things. So making it a system where you have a currency that does not guarantee you to get the skin is creating a system where we can first generate a bit of revenue, but also where you do not know for sure what you're getting. The problem I could see with the system you described is that since you would know for sure exactly what you're getting, except for the people that are really completionist and really wants to have all the skins available or something like this, you would only pick the skins that you're interested in, and so you would be in need in total of a lot less Eternite, which would mean that we would need to give you a lot less Eternite in the game to not unbalance it to the point where getting skins becomes too easy because you can get exactly the ones you want with with just the usual in-game activity every single time. Uzars, you're basically mentioning like a progressive cosmetic system. Well, what I read from that is pretty much making shinies, right? I mean, I would be fine with the idea of having, more details, more elements, more particles, but there's the few problems I could see with this is that it would require a lot more arts to be done if we want it to look good and not just be a basic effect on top of it. But also the problem is it might also turn the game to be a bit less readable. To me, one of the biggest quality of Battle Legion is something I think I mentioned it even in the very first stream I did with Crucible, that I love how easy to read this game is, despite all the stuff that are happening on the screen. So we should avoid making this too complicated. But yeah, I mean, fair enough, that's something to consider, that's for sure. So yeah, let me see where we stand. I think we are almost done. Yeah, we still have, oh, I won, yay, 20%, way to go, guys. We still have, yeah, less than 10 players to go for this section. So I can take some more questions in the meantime. Not necessarily true. Oh, that's about the draws. If you have a swarm army, for instance, matching wouldn't last long against regular armies. I mean, I get it. I get your point, Annie Viper, and I know mostly that it comes from the problem with draws at the moment. The thing is, I much rather prefer our team to find solution to reduce draws rather than try to enforce this behavior in the stream. Worst case scenario, what I could imagine is giving the same amount for wins and draws on some of the hardcore mode, for example. Why not? But to actually make it so that it's better than the win, I don't know, that's something that doesn't make sense for me on that sense. So the comment table, this is Matt Remar, right, if I remember correctly. We could make the blue nighttime battlefield from Journey a prize for a random person participating in stream. Actually, that's something I'm already thinking about, but not necessarily this one. What I was thinking about is, in general, to, on the longer run, be able to have community designed elements. So get you to give us some suggestions of a new title, a new battlefield, etc. Get those ready and be granting those as rewards for the streams. So most likely that would be like only for people that were in the chat. For example, we would draw someone out from the chat or something like this. I would love to do something like this. It's just that obviously it will take a bit more time, because if we want something that is really community exclusive, we need the art team to work on it, and obviously we first want them to be done with journey levels and those kind of things before they work on that. But in a few months' time, that's definitely something I'd like for us to look at indeed. And yeah, there's a draw. There was a draw just not so long ago. Come on, folks! I really want to finish with at least 10%. I'm sure I'm not gonna be there, but at least for my ego, I would feel a bit better. Yeah, I think I can say bye to my 10% winning ratio. We're at 11. We're most likely not going to stay at 11. Will the John 11 achievements get a rework? That's something I need to check, but as far as I'm aware, yes, we would adapt it and potentially have more titles linked to it, because if we keep on adding new levels, you should be able to get this title, but also the next one, etc. So yeah, we should be able to change the achievements and also to link titles to it. Okay, We still have 3 players to go, so we'll start preparing the final list in the meantime. Okay, we're back at 9%. Oh, okay, yes. I will be back to the 10%, maybe. Maybe the final match will decide if I manage to be 10% or not. Oh, I don't like that. Hey, Greenfoot, yeah, you're asking about the news mention of multiple milestones for the anniversary event. I actually asked the team to reword that a tiny bit better because what was meant was actually that they wanted to mention that you were getting other rewards along the way, which were the free chariot, the free wagons that you're getting, and that got miscommunicated indeed. So that's something that has been corrected in the news, and you will get an update on your progress. Actually, if I remember correctly, that will be tomorrow. And we're done, guys. I managed to be at 20-something% of a winning ratio, which I have no idea. I don't know how I did that. But yeah, I mean, I'll take it. Awesome. So yeah, you should get an update on your progress. I think it's planned for later today to have the news released for you guys. So you should have this one. As far as I remember, when I checked yesterday, and it was above 35% or something like this. So we should be able we should be getting even more than that very soon. Okay, so let's prepare the next and final fight night for the day. We have a total of 67 players that are ready to go. I will shuffle the participants a few times, and mostly I will also edit the rewards, because yeah, we're talking about 150 gems for a loss. We're talking about 300 gems for a draw, and we're talking about 400 gems for a win. Let me recheck that. This is correct? Yes, that's what was mentioned. That's great. So we can go live. Okay. So here's the final army we will fight, created by Badhbh. You will see that it makes a good usage of the wormhole. I hope that it does. I tried to do it as accurately as I can on this account. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let me start the event. Okay, the event should be on. Let's see. How many players do we have? Do we have enough spins? Yes. There we go. Frankenstein. I think it's gonna be quite interesting. The outcome mode is not supposed to be something where there will be like 100% win rate for me or anything like this. It's still supposed to be something that you can defeat, but yeah, it shouldn't be too easy either. So we'll see how it performs. And yeah, as we're starting, I will be just taking a second to copy, as usual, the player list so we can edit that on YouTube for you guys. Okay, so if I go there. Okay. Let me check. What is that? There we go. The list is there. Hardcore mode. Okay, the list is ready. Let's just push it to the live. Okay, changes were saved. You should be able to see the list if you refresh your browser. Okay, and now I can finally catch back on what was discussed. What about if we reach 150%? Could we make the party animal bronze, like the elite titles level up? We can do something like this. At the moment, this event that we have for the anniversary, it was really something we did just because we thought there should be something for the anniversary. Going forward, we plan to have such events happening quite regularly. You know, maybe something for Halloween, maybe something for New Year's celebration, or I don't know. There will be some of those events and the anniversary, obviously, and we'll make them better. So we will be adding more rewards, especially cosmetics or titles. Yeah, we'll be working on that. The way we want you to see it is like, oh, they're giving us a free wagon, and if we work all together, we can get as well an exclusive title. That was just really the version 1.0 of what we can do with those basic events. We will get more of those going, and we will try to elaborate on the formula a lot more as we go forward. It would be nice if the names of the battlefields were shown when pressing on them in cosmetic unit. I agree, because sometimes when I get a suggestion of an army and when I select it, like for Bizu today, most of the time I try to use the one that they used when they shared the army with me, because I just feel like, you know, if I want to pay tribute to their work, it's kind of the best way to do it, by also using the battlefield they used on this example. But indeed, at times it can be a bit tricky to find the good battlefield that you're looking for. Indeed, that's a small UI thing. Maybe we can squeeze it in and have this done. It's definitely something I will bring to the team, though. Okay, so Greenfoot, you're saying you must have messed up your tag as you're not listed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all the accounts that were shared with us were added. The only exception would be if you put several accounts in there. Like if you put 2 or 3 accounts, we only took the first one to not have a lot of people adding a lot of new stuffs, a lot of different accounts to the list. Yeah, Shadow's not exactly what I would consider hardcore. I agree. Just to be clear, the idea with the hardcore mode is not to be something unbeatable, etc., or very ultra challenging. It's mostly to say it's done for players that are already more advanced. That's mostly what I mean. But we can definitely get better to that. So we will get better to designing armies. I would also say those armies come from player suggestions. So if you have suggestion for a better army next time, feel free to let me know. I'll be more than happy to get this going. The normal army, though, didn't have higher artifacts level, because if I remember correctly, they should be the exact same. So that should be the same level. Hey, Randu! XOXO! You like the new skins? Thank you. I will definitely pass this on. I don't add dark sparkle to community stuff. Okay. Can't see myself in the list. I did sign up. When did you sign up, guys? Did you sign up last week, maybe? Because if you signed up last week, since we granted rewards, we granted 100 gems to absolutely everyone. Then it should have been sent to you already last week, and because of that, there was a brand new list. So that might be the reason. But besides that, I really took in all the answers that came in before the form was closed. So, yeah. It's not possible, Kim, that you signed up again. The stream is not allowing answers anymore on the form since already earlier today, if I remember correctly. So that shouldn't be possible. Let me recheck right away in case for whatever reason the form got opened again, but it shouldn't be the case. Checking that right now. Now we still have 200 answers there, so there's not been any additional logging since we blocked it. And I can tell you that the last login was today at 9 AM. Oh no, that's only for the hardcore mode. Let me see for all the modes. So if we look at the last account for all the modes, at 10 AM this morning was the last moment you could register when there was still some entries there. You did a second lineup earlier. Yeah, but I'm not sure how that would work because, as I said, the form was closed at 10 AM this morning. And yeah, all the 200 entries are there. Is it possible, Kim, that potentially you were part of the normal or the easy army and you already passed, so you're on the list but higher potentially? Okay, so glad to see we can win some battles still. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, I did speak too soon. You chose the hard mode. Then I would suggest to share with me your player tag if you want on Discord, potentially if you're there, and I can check if you were on the list somewhere, and if for any reason that got taken out, but I don't really see why. TSA, hey, sorry you don't get the army in advance. That's true. The main problem is that since it's the 3 slots on the same account, it's a bit tricky to share that with you, even though it's always the same account that I use. But the signups, I don't think they were not done correctly because, again, all the players that I have logged in there, they all end up being in the list. We have 191 entries, which makes sense since there are a few that were duplicates. So we always, like when people register several times, we make sure that the account is taken out, like the second entry. Maybe that's what happened in your case, that you entered 2 times and that the 2 entries were cancelled. I don't think that's the case, but please, would that be the case, just let me know your player tag on Discord and I will check that you registered, and if that's the case and if that's what happened, then I would definitely grant you the rewards, because that would mean you were supposed to be in the stream. But so far, it's never been the case, because usually when you delete the duplicates, you only delete the duplicated value. You're not duplicating both entries. Greenfoot, it might be better to have 3 accounts. That is true, but the main issue by having 3 accounts is that the stream will suffer a bit from it, though, because that will be a lot more of switching accounts, turning off the screen entirely, the time for me to log in, etc. But that's something we can look into. As we said, this was a tryout, so that's the first time we're trying this, and we can see if that might be the reason there. Okay, so I see someone sent me his player tag, so I will be able to see if I can find you in my field directly. Yes, I can find you, and if I go there, let me check. So just a second here. Okay, that's very weird. Okay, so I'm checking right now what might have been happening, Kim, because indeed I can see that you registered and you are properly added to the hardcore challenge. And when I check all of the entries, you should be in there. When I check in here, you're also supposedly in there. Let me check how many entries do we have. Okay. So that's pretty weird. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out what happened there and why there would be some accounts that are not in here when they should have been, because I don't see any reasons why they wouldn't be here. Because we have the good number of accounts, so that's what really is a bit weird for me. Okay. Let me check if I check these. Sorry guys, I'm just rechecking that at the same time. Most likely, if that's just what happened, I will be able to add you to the list directly. Okay, no. So that's not what I wanted, that's what I wanted. Okay. Okay, so that's super weird. There seem to be 6 players, 6 accounts, which for whatever reason that would be, were not added, and I don't see any reasons why they are not in there. That's super weird. Okay, so I will be isolating these entries and I will be adding you guys there. Sorry about that. I'm not really sure what happened because all of the accounts were properly in there. So yeah, I will be adding those few accounts, just taking a few minutes to properly filter out which ones were missing, and we will be adding there, obviously, because you guys should be in here. Just a second. Okay. So yeah, the winning rate is going pretty low. I guess we should have gone for something harder for you guys. You're just too good for us. But that's good to know. We'll know that for the future now. Let me check if I can properly clean this. Okay, and the last entry we had previously. Okay, so I was able to identify the few players that were missing. I don't really know why they were taken out during the process, because I pretty much did what everyone would expect. Yes, I see that it is frozen. Sorry guys, that's the joys of multitasking. I hope it was not frozen for too long. I'm bringing that back up right away. And I will be adding those few accounts right away as well to the Fight Night. Again, very sorry guys for those that were not added right away. That's not really something we intended. Oh, okay, yeah. That will work. This will work. So, there we go. Wait, okay. It seems like for a reason that I don't understand, those accounts are not recognized. And it's still frozen on the side. Come on. Come on, the stream, you're not really helping me out there. Okay, guys. No, the adding other players should not be randomizing the list again, as far as I'm aware. But if it was the case, then we would be potentially changing that. But there's a little. Okay, I know what happened. Since it's just a few accounts, I will be able to solve that. We are almost there. Again, very sorry about this error. I don't really know where it came from, but we're sorting it, and that's the part that matters. We're gonna make things right for you folks, as you should all be able to benefit from the streams if you registered from it. Especially since some players registered quite early. For that, it would not be fair to not be able to get things going. Why is it that they cannot find you guys? I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to understand why is it that the system is not finding you, but I don't seem to understand what's going on here. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find out what is causing this issue with those few accounts, because there's nothing really specific or particular for that, but for whatever reason, it's still an issue. So here's what we're gonna do. When this list is over, I will restart the fight night with just those few players. This way it should be working just fine. And if it still doesn't work, at this point, then we will just be granting you prizes for this. Okay, so let me catch back, sorry, on what happened there. Was there a cutoff point? I noticed that you said first 150 gets to fight, but you put down 179 players. So no, that's a bit different. What happened is that we said we would secure 150 spots for sure, but we would have more players participating if we add the time, which is what is happening right now. We have enough time. We're not going into a 3-hour streams or anything like this, so we can put more than 150 players. Actually, the grand total that I had by the list that has been added should be adding up to 190 players. But as said, there's a few players which, for whatever reason, were taken out of the list, and I don't really understand why, because that's a very straightforward copy-pasting work that I did there. So I don't know why the system didn't add them when I first generated the list, but because that would obviously be unfair not to do anything about that, we will be running another fight night right after this one is over with those few accounts. And if for whatever reason the system still doesn't want for those accounts to be added in, I will right away grant you the rewards for winning until I can actually find out what has caused this issue with these few accounts. Randu, any news from today's stream? I didn't watch it. No real news. There's been a bit of teasing, but that's about it. Anyway, you thought the stream was 2 hours. We want this to be roughly 2 hours. We don't want to be too restrictive with that, so today it's gonna be a bit more. Mostly what we try to avoid is having 3 hours, 3 hours and a half streams like we had at one point. That's the deal and what we are working with at the moment. And I'm sorry because I feel like I've repeated it quite a few times, but yes, we really, the 150 players has never been mentioned as a limit of how many players would fight, but as how much we can secure will fight. And if we have time, if everything goes okay with the stream, we can have more. That's also what we did a few weeks back when we even had 125 seats and we ended up having more players participating. First time I took part in the fighting and it was fun. Yeah, I mean, glad that you enjoyed it. I just had a few stressful minutes for the stream because yeah, I always feel super bad when something goes wrong where players could suffer from it, because that's really the last of my wishes. So yeah, just trying to find the best fitting solution there. It seems right now like the best thing to do is to wait for this one to be over and have another one right after with just those few accounts that are left out. And yeah, we'll make sure that those players can properly fight. Will Fight Night be remaining during the second week so that we can ask questions on stuffs like battle news, etc.? So for July, we will have another battle news next week because otherwise we would really be out of sync. And then from in August, most likely the first week of August, we won't be having one simply because that's the schedule that was planned. And I will be honest with you, I kind of also need to secure, days offs and stuffs like that, like any human being. And so this has been planned pretty much now for a few weeks. But after that, starting from the 8th of August. We can go with whatever works better for the players, and we can include the battle news. But as I was saying earlier, for the battle news, we will make sure that either if they're in the stream, they're shorter. So the idea would be I present roughly what's going on. We start the fight night, and during the fight night, you can ask questions and we can go through this. Or the other option is we do it as a separate video, and when we run the stream, you already had access to the video and you were able to watch and you can ask questions, which would then allow us to go right away with this system, pretty much. So those are the two options that I can think of at the moment, pretty much. Okay, so we're pretty much halfway through with this last bit of the stream. So yeah, today's stream will be slightly longer. Again, as I said, that's not a problem as long as we don't go to big extremes, especially with one stream every 2 weeks. We can be a bit more open. For next week, players that did not register for today will have the priority. This does not mean that no one else will participate. What it means is that the players that did not register will be put up first in the list. It mostly means as well that we will let the registrations go up until probably 1 or 2 hours before the stream. So it will be, you will be able to register later than today. And then I will do the sorting job, and we'll make sure pretty much that we don't include, that we give the priority to players that were not part of the stream, and then we'll take the players that were potentially in today. Yeah, that's when you see that the stream starts to get to the 2 hours. It's when I'm losing my train of thought completely mid-sentence. So yeah, what I meant is we should be able to give the priority to the people that were not registered for today's stream. But please make sure to register as soon as you can, because even though we'll give the priority to people that did not register, since there needs to be a bit of work done to sort out all the entries, prioritize them, etc., and ordinate them, it is necessary that we make sure these entries come to us. I will share the message when the link is shared early next week, but probably the ideal would be that by 2 or 3 hours before the stream, most likely I would say 2 hours is the most likely schedule. 2 hours before the stream would be when we'll close the registrations, give the priority to those that did not fight, then add more players obviously based on who came into the list, and based on that we'll probably have around 180 or 190 players, pretty much like today. It depends as well on the distributions, because as you've seen, the fights for the easy and medium modes were a lot faster. So if we have more of those, we can take also more players in. But yeah, we'll see how things go on that road, and slowly but surely we'll get more and more players to join us. Okay, guys. Anything else you would like to talk about? Anything else you would like to ask? Because now is the time. Otherwise, you have to wait forever. Or, well, until next week, pretty much. Okay, so I can see that Annie Viper is coming pretty soon as well in the stream. That's quite cool. And yeah, we have 40 players down already on the hardcore mode, so we should not be taking up too long. And of course, we'll be adding the few accounts that were not included, as I mentioned already. How's life? Life's good. A bit too warm to my taste in the southwest of France right now. We're talking. Yesterday was 38 degrees Celsius. No idea how to convert that to Fahrenheit for those guys, for the people that are using Fahrenheit system, but yeah, 38 degrees, it's a bit too much for me. Today is a bit better though, it's about 30 degrees, so nothing too extraordinary there. How did I get into the gaming industry? Okay, that's a bit of a more personal aspect. Basically, when I was a kid, I wanted to work in the gaming industry, and I realized in high school that I was terrible at anything math related, and I thought that programming and such was mostly math type of logic, so I switched to something else. I studied communication and marketing and management. And once I ended my master degree, I basically realized that it was rather hard for me to find a job right in the field that I was studying, because I studied to do pretty much consulting for companies and telling them what they should change in their management strategies, etc. And when you are like 22, 23 years old, knocking at big companies and telling them, hey, I'm a 22 years old guy that will tell you how to run things, obviously it's a bit complicated. And around that point, me and my wife had the opportunity to move to Germany. And I basically checked for jobs, openings in Germany. And I found this opening for a community manager position for a gaming company, and they wanted someone that was speaking French, which was perfect because I didn't speak a word of German anyway back then. So I applied, and mostly when I was reading the description of the job, I realized that I was doing absolutely everything they were listing in there for years, but on my free time, taking care of forums, being an admin on social media pages, etc. All of those things, I've been doing that for ages at this point. So I just never really thought of this aspect of the gaming industry. That would have been in 2013. So yeah, 10 years ago now. And yeah, that's basically how I came to be into the gaming industry. It was a bit of a, not an accident, but by luck initially. But it was also something I initially wanted to do when I was younger. So all in all, I was quite happy to go this way. Okay, any updates on bigger rewards to help free-to-play players get level 150? There's a lot to talk about on this. It is not likely that you will feel like an insane boost in rewards all of a sudden. What is most likely to be the case is that with the new game modes and events that we want to add, with the rework of the ads system, and the fact that we want to add ads placements in some places, with some of the rework of the journey levels, all of those elements that we're working on should make it so that your progression through the levels is going to be better shaped, and it should work better overall. But it's not like all of a sudden everything will be better for you. Sorry, I dropped my bottle of water there. So it's not like all of a sudden everything will be easier. It's just that when you look at all the stuffs you're getting right now, if you look at the same thing in 6 months' time, it should be ensuring a smoother progression through the game in general. That's mostly how I would like to to explain it, because I don't want you guys to expect that we're gonna double some rewards or anything like this, because that's not how things will be working out. That's not exactly the way it should be moving. Randu, you're asking, yeah, you're telling us pretty much that wormhole is too strong actually. Yes, we know, we discussed it a bit already in the stream, so that's for you to go and check out what we said. But I can give you like a TLDR, or in this case TLDW, too long didn't watch, I guess. We are looking at a few different options on how we can make it slightly less OP, mostly by looking at its diameter and how fast it triggers its action. That's the main points we're looking at. Okay, what do community managers do if they are not on social media? When you're not on social media and you're a community manager, you're mostly checking Discord, because there most likely is a lot more happening there right now for you than on social media. But joke aside, we have a tendency to spend a lot of time there. It's something I actually try to control and force myself not to spend too much time on social media outside of work, but it's rather complicated, of course, by the very definition of how our work is shaped. And personally, what I do outside of this, well, I play video games, obviously, but I also play music. I'm a self-taught guitarist, so I play guitar, and yeah, I mean, I have 2 dogs to entertain myself as well, and take care of them at home. So yeah, we have things to keep ourselves busy when we're not on social media. Nice, give us a special stream, half French, half German. John, I won't be able to do that. I can give you a 90% French, 10% German if you want, because my German is very rusty. I left Germany 3.5 years ago now. So yeah, my German is not nearly as good as it used to. And it was not that great already back then, because the thing to realize for anyone that has never been to Germany is that in general, Germans speak super good English. Even when they say they don't, they actually do. So most of the time I could get my way by speaking English. And since I was speaking English at work all day, it didn't really help getting a lot better in German. So I can, do some small talk and basic conversation, but I wouldn't be able to go into super in-depth talks in German. As for French, obviously it's my native language, so I can speak French. Il suffit de me dire ce que vous voulez que je vous raconte en français, et voilà, on part directement sur du français, il n'y a aucun problème. Pour moi, c'est pas un souci, forcément, c'est ma langue natale, c'est la langue que je parle tous les jours avec ma famille. Donc on peut passer sur du français, mais je crois que la majorité des gens n'apprécieraient pas que je fasse tout un stream comme ça. So yeah, as I was just saying in French, I can switch to French quite easily, because that's the language I speak with all day long, pretty much with my family, with my friends, with everyone. So I could switch to French quite naturally, but obviously doing an entire stream this way would be probably a bit boring for those that don't understand French. Okay, so yeah, Randu, yeah, indeed, the mechanic of the trap is something that we see a lot of players are enjoying. It creates new possibilities in battle with the wormhole, so we're quite happy about that. But obviously, indeed, it is a problem if it's too overpowered, and that's something we are currently looking at. Hopefully, we can sort this out quite quickly. Wording of the anniversary event, it mentions specific milestones. Yes, I know. That's what I meant earlier, that it should have been edited. Oh, you mean that it's still the case in the update news for today? Okay, so then that's something that needs to be corrected to reflect more clearly what we meant. And who knows, since it was our mistake, maybe we might squeeze in something else on top. If you guys are performing well, we'll see if we can squeeze something on top or not. Okay, we are getting closer to the end. My winning ratio went up a little, and just when I say that, obviously there's a defeat, but at least it's not as bad as it was a few minutes ago. We have about 10 players left to go, then we will have the 9 additional accounts that I was mentioning earlier. Again, all my apologies to the few players that were kept out of this. I don't really know what has happened in this very scenario. I will blame it on spreadsheet magic. But yeah, definitely our fault and most likely my fault, so we're gonna be fixing that right away. A power stone could prevent you from the wormhole. I mean, the problem is if we go the power stone road, that would mean you would need to put it on quite a few units if you really want to avoid that situation. That might be a bit too much, to be honest, if you have to put that power stone on many units. Mostly because it would also take the slot of another power stone, right? Power stone slot. So that would mean, okay, you have a way to go around the system and the mechanic, but you're also weakening your army in order to do so. So if the wormhole is a bit too overpowered, probably the last thing we want is to make someone facing a wormhole having to get that army to be weaker in order to overpass it. If the unit is too OP, that's on us to rework slightly how it's balanced and make it work, and that's what we intend to do, definitely. And that's a victory. Yes. Wouldn't expect that, but hey, I'll take it. Okay. So we are slowly getting to the end. We are fighting Knight Us. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players to go. Yes? 9 or 8? I don't know. I don't know how to count anymore at this point of the day. At this point, after 2 hours of stream, you cannot ask me to be good with numbers anymore. You know, that's that's not fair to expect me to be good with numbers after 2 hours of streaming. Okay, guys, any further question, anything else you want to ask before we get to the end of this stream, because we are getting closer and closer to the end. Long stream, I mean, it's a long stream, but that's okay. Ultimately, there was no stream last week because of the spinning bug. In total, it's been 3 weeks since the last stream. That's definitely a lot, so it's perfectly fine to go a bit overboard. I would say as well, most likely, most realistically, we'll always go a bit over the 2 hours, because to restrict it to 2 hours very strictly, we need to take 150 players or something like this, and you can clearly see there that this is not what you guys want. So yeah, we mostly will make sure that we don't go to 3 hours long streaming or such, but going a bit overboard is perfectly fine, especially when we have a stream every 2 weeks. You have a problem with the shop in game, and you want me to check on Discord. Yes, I will check that right after the streams, no problem. Obviously, we will look at what it is, and yeah, no problem. No worries, Brandu. In general, just because I know some people do that naturally, some people don't, in case you are facing any issue in game, you have a few different roads to go. Obviously, you can contact our support team. That's perfectly fine. You can also contact me directly on Discord, but you can also contact us on Facebook or any platform, to be honest, where we are at. But yeah, indeed, do not hesitate. That's what I wanted to say. Do not hesitate to contact me on Discord if you have a problem. I'll do my best to solve it. And most likely with the help of the support team, we can get things going. Yeah. Oh, Greenfoot. You know what they say, it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's it's working as intended. Yes, it's actually taking you money from you when you buy something. That's the very definition of buying, and the very definition of a shop. But you know, that's the way it goes. Support in game is really good and fast reply. Thank you. I will definitely pass on the message. I know that they are doing their best as well over there. So yeah, quite happy to hear that you're satisfied with the support team and the quality of their work, most importantly. Okay, we have 4 players to go after Slavic. So I'm wondering, will I be able to stay at 34% winning rate? Seems very unlikely, but we'll see. Support didn't help me, but replied fast. I mean, I don't know what was your situation, but it depends on what you were facing. As an issue, we always try to reply fast. Of course, it's a bit harder over weekends or stuff like this, but other than that, we try to reply fast. Then obviously there will be cases where we cannot help, sadly. I know that most of the time we are able, obviously, to help players, but there are cases where we might not be able to. It's obviously not satisfying for us, but there's also not so much we can do about this when that happens. So yeah. Randu, you're asking if we have news about a merchant for extra artifact shards. I cannot really say. That's the kind of things we're looking at, but it's too early to really be able to give more details on if that would be for this kind of shards or not, if that would be for something else, how it would work. It's just a bit too early for us. Game resetted during cart opening and cart disappeared without reward. Okay, yeah, I know that these cases can be super tough because it's tricky. Really, what will happen most of the time is that when you reset the game, you should get what you're getting, or the card should be waiting for you. If none of those cases happened, we can run some queries to try to find out what happens, but really often the data will be a bit limited because it will tell us what you got, but more often than not, it won't really prove to us that you received it or not. So yeah, that's often a bit complicated. Support for armies is best provided on Discord rather than game support. Yes, for the armies, I would definitely agree. Oh, we are at Odin. Odin is our last player, so right after this we'll be able to move to the very, very last part of today's stream. Should be nice to see a global chat in game. No, please no, please no. If we do a global chat in game, I can guarantee you it will be spammed. You won't be able to read anything. It will be a constant. You've seen the Matrix, right? It's gonna be just the same visual effects with stuff passing by. You won't be able to do anything about this. and it would be a nightmare to moderate. So please, no global in-game chat with all the languages and such. I much prefer people to come to Discord and have a proper discussion there. As for direct messages, that's something we already answered about quite a few times. The problem when you do something like this is that when you do something like this, the problem is that it's taking a lot of development for something that technically at the moment players can already do on their own, and we much prefer put this development time into actual features for the game than into a direct messaging system. So that's the main things. Say hello to your doggy for us. Yes, you can hear the tippy toes, right? Yeah, that was one of my dogs coming by. So yeah, just a second. I think I found out why I was not able to add those players in, and I might actually be able to add them right away. But since we're done, we'll just directly grant the rewards, and now we can go to the next step. So just a second for me, making sure I give them the good amount of rewards that they're supposed to get, because that would be a shame to not give them what they're supposed to get. So that's 150, 300, and 400. And we'll be able to start in just a minute. Okay. Okay, the participants have been added. I will be shuffling them. I will be adding you as well right when we start. I will be adding you to the YouTube section so that you can, the description section so that you can see what's going on. Everything is saved. I can just start the event and we'll be able to go. Should be working with, yes, everything is working as intended now. So just a second, I will post the final list of players properly in there. Again, I'm very sorry about this. I will call it a rookie mistake. I don't really know what has happened and what caused this issue, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that we're able to solve it. Tsa, I can tell you that you're up next already. There we go. Just copying. Some copy pasting, some deleting, and we're almost there. I'm adding you, starting. Okay, changing the numbers, and we'll be able to go. Oh, my bad, didn't put the auto spin. Classic. See, that's when you do too much stuff. So Tsa, you're on right now. There we go. I'm pronouncing it the French way, by the way. I'm saying Tsa, when maybe it's TSA or Tse. I don't know how you want it to be pronounced. So until you correct me and tell me, oh no, that's actually this way or that way, that's pretty much the only option I have, is to guess. And since I have no clue, I went the French way, so sorry. If you want me to pronounce your name another way, I will definitely do so next time. So, come on. Let me save. There you go. You should have the full list edited for the players on YouTube. Sorry again about that, guy. Tsa is pronounced like so. Tsarouille, yeah, but then Tsarouille is 100% French, right? Rouille, it's a French word. The Donations limit should be high. I guess you're asking for donations to be even higher. But yeah. Oh yeah, Greenfoot, Clash of Clans is not the only game that deleted the global chat. It's pretty much like either it's not monitored and it's pretty much a nightmare, or it is monitored and the teams and the games just took it out at one point because it's really, really complicated to take care of. So now you tell me that I had it right in the beginning when I said sa. So then sa does not sound like so with a W at the end. So yeah. Oh, it's funny actually, since you refer to Clash of Clans as COC, I'm gonna give you a bit of music trivia. For me, when you say COC, the only thing I think of is the band called Corrosion of Conformity. I actually saw them again earlier this year. Classic band, pretty much in the Metallica style, if you want. But actually, they're very close friends with Metallica. But I would say it's a bit heavier and sludgier for those that know the terms. So yeah. Command and Conquer for all the games, yeah. But that would have been CNC, not COC. But yeah, Corrosion of Conformity, it's a very, very good band, very good music. For people like me, at least. For metalheads that are a bit older. Okay, so we have a few players to go, and I can say Greenfoot will be our second to last player for the day. So I managed to make sure he would be in the last so that I can keep him with us in the chat until the very last moment. No, actually the shuffle did that for me. I'm not really I'm not really into this kind of calculations. Just shuffled the entries and that was it. Okay, 30% at the moment on the winning ratio. Let's see if we can get that up. T3 artifacts beats hardcore. It depends on who is putting those artifacts on. If you give me artifacts level 3, oh, you meant some T3 artifacts were beating the hardcore mode when T5 users were joining the easy battle. Yeah, I mean, the T5 players joining the easy battle, I must say I didn't get it. I mean, you know, you guys wanted to go with the small rewards, that's fine, but then don't tell me that you need more streams and more gems, etc., because you went for the easy, smaller price when you could have get 4 times more. So, you know, we are trying to give you gems, you don't want them. You're gonna use T3, yeah, but I mean, Greenfoot, I consider you as a player that knows what he's doing, you know. So that's a bit different from somebody like me that was putting those very artifacts for the normal army, which didn't make any sense. For this build though, the way Bizu created it kind of made sense, and it's a rather good build overall. The thing is, I probably didn't go as far as I should have with some of the levels of units, some of the designs. I just didn't feel like going too over the top. I think I would have probably, I should have probably go over the top to make things work. Okay, 2 players to go. Yeah, to be fair, I'm a strange exception. I mean, Greenfoot, you're mostly an exception because you restarted the game, right? So you already had a good understanding of the game before getting back in, which I guess is what makes the big difference there, right? Yeah, T5 eyes. Yeah, that's the thing. There, on the artifact side, I could have gone with T5 all the way through. Yeah, maybe it would have been a bit better. I didn't want to go too harsh on the first time. It's still a learning curve. But yeah, probably could have gone with T5 directly there. Okay, and now we are at our final battle for the night. Again, sorry folks for this. Sorry for the mistake and the few players that were not included in right away. It's definitely not the way it should have been. I will be checking, double checking, triple checking a bit more next time to see why this happened, but also mostly making sure it does not happen again. So yeah, definitely a lesson learned on my end. Sorry about that. You forgive me, Annie Viper. Thank you very much. That's very nice. Oh, I'm gonna finish on a victory, maybe? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But that's okay. That's basically also the way those things go. We're gonna get better as we have a better learning on the how far I can go with the hardcore side of things. So, few things to mention before I will basically end the stream for today. For the next time, I will make sure that this chat is properly in dark mode. I don't know why it was in white, but it's definitely not the easiest to read, so we'll make sure it's back to the dark mode that it should have always been into. We'll see each other next week for the next community stream. As a reminder, make sure to check in already the day before and register as soon as you can. The registration will be on for a bit longer than today, up until 1 or 2 hours before the stream, and we will give the priority to those that were not able to participate today. And yeah, that's basically it. I would like to thank every single one of you again. And yeah, thank you, Annie Viper. Thank you, Matt Remark. Thank you, everyone. It's not going to be a couple of weeks until you see me again, Matt Remark. It will actually be next week already. And Annie Viper, yeah, Cellar Door, indeed. We'll get that sorted as well. We'll call it an Easter egg just to see if you guys were able to spot it. Anyway, thank you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will leave you for now. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And yeah, we'll talk to each other very soon. And we'll see each other in next week's fight night. Bye, guys.